Hey everyone, today we're going to be looking at ChatGPT and artificial intelligence that might be able to help you as a researcher and as a scientist and as somebody who's writing research papers. I have about 10 questions I want to ask the AI, and I'll be evaluating them on maybe a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being great and 1 being horrible. Let's jump in. Okay, our first question, what is the best academic journal for engineering papers? Enter. Let's see what the AI has for us today. There we go. It depends on the specific field of engineering. Different journals specialize in different areas of engineering research. Some well-regarded journals in general include Science, Nature, and Nature Materials for interdisciplinary and cutting-edge research, IEEE, Transaction on Robotics, Transactions on Automation. Okay, cool. Okay, let's go to number 3, Journal of Mechanical Engineering Science, Journal of Sound and Vibration, Journal of Fluids. So I don't know. So I'm reading this. It has some good options, right? Journal of Material Science, Engineering ABC for Material Science, and Journal of Civil Engineering and Management, Journal of Construction Engineering and Management, Journal of Infrastructure Systems for Engineering. I'm not exactly sure how they separated these. Like, is the top, are these the most popular and the bottom is less popular? That's a little unclear, but these are very good suggestions. And here at the bottom, we have a caveat. It's always best to check with experts in the field for their recommendations, as well as checking the impact factor of the journals. We have a video on impact factors that you can watch on our channel. Visit the link in the description. We have a couple of them, actually. But that's a very good point. Talk to your professor. Your professor probably has 3 or 4 journals that they would want you to target for your research. So I give this score, this is only about a 7. They give good recommendations, but it's a little confusing about the order, and I'm not sure how to prioritize it. Maybe our question was a little too vague. So let's make this a little more specific. So for engineering papers, how about, let's just say civil engineering papers. Civil engineering papers include Journal of Infrastructure Systems, Journal of Transportation Engineering, Journal of Geotechnical and Geoenvironmental Engineering, Journal of Construction Engineering and Management, Journal of Structural Engineering, Journal of Computing. I think we get the point. This is a 10 out of 10 answer, right? Specific. Oh, there's so many good ones. It's always best to check with experts in the field, so we get the same caveat here at the bottom, the same recommendation. And you can go one by one through all of these journals and check the scope and check the author requirements for yourself. This is a 10 out of 10 answer. I like it. I like it a lot. Question number 2. What happens if I submit a paper with plagiarism to a journal for publishing? Here we go. Paper is found to contain plagiarism, the journal will typically reject the paper and may also take additional steps, such as informing the author's institution and potentially banning the author from submitting to the journal in the future. That's true. Plagiarism is a serious violation of academic integrity and is not tolerated by reputable journals. True. Journals use plagiarism detection software to check the papers they receive before they are sent out for review. If plagiarism is detected, it usually is caught at this stage and the paper is rejected. Yeah, software is most often used. That's true. It is important to know that plagiarism not only refers to copying and pasting text, but also to paraphrasing without proper citation. Yes, you need a citation after every single fact you claim. Self-plagiarism and other forms of dishonesty. Self-plagiarism is when you copy your own work. If you publish the same paper in 2 different journals, for example, that can be plagiarism. It is the author's responsibility to ensure their work is original and properly cited. It is always better to err on the side of caution and to properly cite any source you use in your work. Great advice. 10 out of 10 answer. Don't plagiarize. Let's be respectful. Question number 3. What key points should I include in a cover letter when submitting a research paper to a journal? Ooh, this is a specific question. This is a very specific question. A cover letter is a document submitted alongside your yada, 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 yada. Main purpose, introduce your paper. Okay. The key points. Oh, great. They're going to list it for us. Key points. Number 1, the title of your paper and names of the authors, a brief summary of the main findings, contributions of your research, a statement of how your research fits within the scope of the journal and how it will be of interest to the journal's readership, a statement of any previous versions of the paper that have been published or submitted elsewhere. That's important for self-plagiarism. It's a good statement. 5, a declaration of any conflicts of interest or ethical considerations related to the research. Great. Information on the corresponding author, including contact details and email addresses. Okay, yeah. A request for the editor to consider the paper for publication and have it to be reviewed by experts in the field. Yeah, this is an interesting one. When you write cover letters, you should be writing what you hope to gain from the submission of the cover letter. If you're applying for a job, you say, I'm excited to submit my application materials for this position. And it's the same with this cover letter for a research paper. And number 8, an expression of appreciation to the editor for considering your submission. Yeah, why not? Thanks for taking the time to review my materials. I look forward to hearing from you soon. It's a good idea to make sure your cover letter is well written and professional, of course, and that you have double-checked all the details before submitting it. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine advice. This is a great answer. I would say 9 out of 10 because I don't know if there's only 8 things you really need to consider. This is a great opportunity to send this to your professor or supervisor and have them double check it before you send it. Yeah, it's a great answer. Let's do question number 5. What are the highest paying jobs I can get with an electrical engineering degree? There are a variety of high-paying job opportunities available for individuals with an electrical engineering degree. Great. Some of the highest paying jobs include senior electrical engineer, electrical engineer manager, electrical design engineer, power systems engineer, 5, control systems engineer. Interesting. 6, embedded systems engineer. Okay, they get pretty specific. It's important to note that not all salaries can vary widely depending on such factors. So it looks like they always give a caveat here, and a caveat is like, a point that you should. This answer is not the end-all, be-all of answers. There might be more information or variations in the answer depending on location and things. So I think it's interesting that their first one was senior electrical engineer. These engineers typically lead teams of engineers that are responsible for the design, development, and testing of electrical systems and equipment. The reason I think this is interesting is who is typing in this question, right? What are the highest paying jobs? These are university students, right? They're not even close to being a senior electrical engineer. So this is a long-term goal. I would have liked to see the first ones be more entry-level positions, stuff that you can set your goal towards, in the immediate future, because I don't think somebody that's been in the career for 10 years is looking up highest-paying jobs. But this is still a good answer. This is a 9 or a 10. I'm pretty satisfied. And there's some in here like embedded systems engineer, I'm not an electrical engineer. This is actually interesting to me. I get to maybe learn something about this field, and now I can go in and I can do more research on what is an embedded systems engineer. Let's try that, right? What is an embedded systems engineer? Question mark. Electrical engineer who specializes in the design and the development of software and hardware for embedded systems. An embedded system is a computer system that is integrated into a larger device or system. Okay, new information for me. That's awesome. And is designed to perform a specific function or set of functions. They are responsible for designing, developing, and testing the software and hardware that make up the embedded system. Okay. Interesting, software and hardware. That's must be really difficult. They work on the low-level software that runs on microprocessors and microcontrollers, as well as the hardware interfaces with the sensor, actuator, and other devices. What an answer. 10 out of 10. I'm learning so much. Let me know in the comments below. If you're an embedded systems engineer, what do you think about this answer? I love it. Let's move on to question number 5. Question number 5. Which engineering fields will be in the highest demand for the next 10 years? So first we say it's difficult to predict. Okay. It can vary on a variety of factors. Okay. These are great. However, certain areas that are expected to see. Okay. So they give us a caveat saying this could change, which is fair. They want to be careful. Renewable energy, great. Robotics and automation, great. Artificial intelligence, great. Internet of Things, The IoT is rapidly growing field, and engineering skills such as embedded systems, we know what that is, wireless communication and data analytics will be in high demand as the Internet of Things continues to evolve. Great. Cybersecurity, biomedical engineering, civil engineering, there will always be civil engineers, and aerospace engineering. Yeah, these are definitely forward thinking, which is great. This sounds like a great, and you get a little information again on all of the fields. And here's our caveat again. I love this answer. 10 out of 10. Let's keep going. I think we're on question 6. Okay, what are the main challenges for medical students? This is a good one. Medical school is a challenging and demanding program that requires significant commitment of time and effort. Fine. Some of the main challenges that medical students face include high academic workload, okay, stress and anxiety, of course, limited time to study. That's a good one. Lack of sleep and physical fatigue, which we know is not good for your health, medical students. Financial burden, social isolation. Interesting. Let's read more about that. Number 6, medical students may feel isolated due to the intense nature of their coursework and the limited time they have to spend with family and friends. Friends and family. You wouldn't think that by just typing this question in initially. You wouldn't, like, that's a more external hardship than just, oh, the classes are hard. Social isolation, great. And, all of these, they lead to burnout. Number 7. So burnout with the high stress and pressure of medical school is common for students to experience burnout, which is characterized by emotional and physical exhaustion, cynicism, and detachment, and a sense of ineffectiveness and lack of accomplishment. That's really harsh and deep, but I'm sure some medical students agree. And number 8, difficulty in transition to professional practice. Wow. So I like this. This follows a trend. So we have normal stresses, and then 7 is burnout. So they all lead to burnout, and then 8 is transition into professional practice. So they don't start with transition into professional practice or burnout. This AI ended this list with those 2 things. And I think that's 10 out of 10. It's an intelligent response. It's important for all medical students to take care of their physical and mental health, of course. I think that's so funny that they're medical students, so they're supposed to be the healthiest of us. But medical school is like, you don't need to be healthy. We're going to make you work way too hard. Okay, let's move on. Next question. Do I need to be good at math to get a biology degree? I like this question because it's... I love science, and I love biology, and I love entomology, the study of insects and plants and forest systems. But I hate math. And it's actually a funny story. I started my undergraduate as a biology degree, and chemistry and math were difficult enough for me to transition into psychology. So let's take a look. Biology is a science field that involves a lot of mathematical concepts, but you don't necessarily have to be good at math to succeed in a biology degree. Okay, this is a conversation. I like it. While some math is typically required for a biology degree, the level of math required can vary depending on the specific program and university. This is very true, so check with your academic advisors or the university websites. In general, students who pursue a biology degree will need to have a solid understanding of basic mathematical concepts such as algebra, geometry, and statistics. Great. Many biology programs will also require students to take 1 or more classes with calculus, which is used to analyze and model various biological systems. That's right. So some biology needs really deep understanding of math. It's absolutely true. If you're not confident in your math skills, it can be helpful to take a course. Okay. Seek out extra help. Okay. It's important to note that biology is a diverse field, and not all biology-related jobs require extensive math. For example, if you are interested in working on wildlife conservation, research on animal behaviors, or botany, you may not need to have a strong math background. This is true, but your classes may still require it for your degree. In summary, a biology degree does require some math skills and concepts, but does not mean you have to be a math genius. Okay, so it's a little reaffirming. I like this. It's giving you some confidence. 10 out of 10. With enough effort and determination, you can still succeed in a biology degree. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that I noticed about like my psychology degree is we took an entire course on the math of psychological studies, right? How do you get significant findings and things like that. And then the course after that was, okay, there's a piece of software that will do all this for you. Let's learn how to use the software now. So I almost felt like the class of learning how to do the math was a little bit of a waste of time, because then we just learned how to do it in the software anyway. Yeah. So definitely check with the school, check with your academic advisor to see what's required of you. Next question. Is it worthwhile to study a master's degree in the USA? This is an incredibly subjective topic. We do know that the USA has many of the top-ranked universities in the world. However, most countries have some pretty excellent schools. So let's see. Studying a master's degree in the USA can be a worthwhile investment for many students. The United States is home to some of the world's most prestigious universities and offers a wide range of academic programs to choose from. Here are a few reasons. So we're going to list. I like that this lists a lot. Quality of education. Okay. Networking opportunities. Very true. So many of the top universities in the US have a lot of international students, which means you can connect with people from all around the world. Career advancement. A master's degree from a reputable university can open up more career opportunities. And this is just that people know the names better. So I live in Taiwan, and some people in America might not know National Taiwan University, even though it is an excellent school by all standards. But NTU is very popular in Asia. So you can, maybe think about your future work environment. If you know that you want to work in Asia, choosing a university more local might lead to better alternatives. But if you want to work in a Western country, maybe the USA is a great place to start. Research opportunities. Yep, conduct research in their field of study. This is true. It can be valuable experience for those pursuing a career in research and academia. Cultural experience. Studying in the USA may also provide you with valuable cultural experience. Yep, culture and society. And I would also say English. This is, an immersion. You're forced to use English. And I do know that in America, a lot of the international students tend to talk together because it's easier. If there's a bunch of students from China, they can speak Chinese together because when they go to class and the classes are in English, maybe they get tired of speaking in English and listening in English. But that's also part of the experience. And when you go into the job world, you might not have a bunch of colleagues from your home country. So jumping into an American university could be a great opportunity for you to hone those skills. And here is our caveat again. So some advice. Oh, many universities in the USA require international students to take the TOEFL and IELTS exam. This is great. So I didn't ask it about what are the requirements, but it's telling me like, hey, heads up, you might have to do a lot. Because what this means is this AI is assuming that a non-native English speaker is asking this question. So it's making an assumption about me, the asker, which is 10 out of 10. Very cool. That's very cool. Okay, next question. What should I do if a journal rejects my research paper for publication? Before I click enter, can you click like and subscribe below if you enjoy this content? Thanks. Let's do it. What should I do if a journal rejects my research paper for publication? If a journal rejects your research paper for publication, there are a few things you can do. Read the review comments carefully. Read the review comments carefully. They may tell you exactly what you need to fix before you resubmit. Revise and resubmit. See there? Submit to another journal. Yes, that can. If you started your application for like a top tier journal and they rejected it, you can jump down to a lower tier journal, a journal with a lower impact factor as well. Attend a conference. Great. If you're not able to get your paper published, you can still present your work at a conference. 100%. This can be a good way to get feedback on your research, to network with other researchers in your field. And number 5, seek professional help. If you are having trouble getting your paper published, you may want to seek the help of a professional editing service or a mentor who can help you to improve your writing and increase your chances of getting published. Yes, my company UniEdit English Editing is a great example. We get papers from international students and we help them to clarify their meaning and fix their grammar and make the paper much more readable and enjoyable for an international academic journal. This is obviously great advice. Now let's read the caveat at the bottom. It's important to keep in mind that getting a paper published can be a difficult and time-consuming process. This can take months, absolutely. It's not uncommon for papers to be rejected multiple times before getting accepted. Don't be discouraged by rejection. Use the feedback to improve your work and keep trying. I love that it's a motivational speaker for us. It's absolutely right. Our channel has a couple videos on getting rejected by a journal, and we talk about almost all of these points. So 10 out of 10. Don't get beat up if your paper gets rejected. It's almost an expected part of the process. Move on to our next question. How can I write English as well as a native speaker can? This is another super subjective question. Because I would say you can't. And that's okay. Similarly, it's hard for a British person to talk in an American's accent. Right? It's so intrinsic to who we are, and our styles and our culture influence our writing. I made a video about this a long time ago, and one of my arguments was it's not necessarily important for you to write as well. Your goal of writing should be to be clear and easily understood. So let's see what it says. Writing English as well as a native speaker can take time, practice, and effort. Here are a few tips that may help you improve your writing skills. Read widely. It's a great practice writing, seek feedback, learn grammar rules, use a dictionary, watch English language media, immerse yourself in the language. And they give you a little explanation. Yeah, I particularly enjoy that number 1 is read widely. Reading extensively in English is one of the best ways to improve your writing skills. And read a variety of texts, including news articles, novels, and academic papers, to become familiar with different styles of writing. One of the things that I tell most researchers is you should be reading a lot of papers in your field. And I like to say, highlight the difficult grammar points or the interesting vocabulary or style, and highlight them and save them, and then reference them later and review them often, and then try to copy and emulate that style in your own writing. So 10 out of 10 answer. This is great. If you have another piece of advice, leave it in the comments below. I'd be happy to see it. Now, we're going to do a little something difficult that this AI might struggle with. I'm going to give the AI some English, some sentences from journals that were written by non-native speakers and that have not been edited by an English editing company. And I want to see if the AI can make the English sound more natural and fix the grammatical mistakes. So here's the prompt. Make this sentence sound like native American English. And here we go. Let's read this one first. Musically, alongside the trend of the introduction of Darwinism, which emphasizes that only creatures who fit the natural environment can survive, Chinese intellectuals and musicians initiated their projects of modernizing Chinese music, meaning national music, in Mandarin Chinese. So let's see what the AI does. As the Darwinism trend took hold, emphasizing the survival of only those creatures that fit their environment, Chinese intellectuals and musicians simultaneously began their efforts to modernize Chinese music or national music in Mandarin. Ooh, I don't like that answer. And it's hard for me to say why I don't like that answer. One of the reasons the AI might have struggled with this is that there's not a lot of context, and it's also a particularly confusing piece of text. I might have said Chinese intellectuals and musicians were influenced by the introduction of Darwinism, and they began their efforts to modernize Chinese music, and it was called national music in Mandarin. Maybe something like that's a little easier to read. Let's do another example. Let's jump over to an engineering paper. So we have make this sentence sound like Native American English. I'll start reading. With the growing of semiconductor and optic industries, demand for enhancing manufacturing quality and reducing machining costs is increasing. Most mechanical machining of semiconductor materials and optic glass requires use of grinding with a diamond impregnated wheel. Groove grinding is extensively used for separating small size component or cutting grooves. So this has a lot of small grammatical mistakes. Let's take a look at the answer here. As the semiconductor and optic industries continue to grow, the demand for improving manufacturing quality and reducing cost is on the rise. I like this first sentence. A lot of mechanical machining of semiconductor materials and optical glass requires the use of diamond-impregnated wheels for grinding. Very good. A specific type of grinding, known as groove grinding, is widely used for small components or cutting grooves. A specific type of grinding, known as groove grinding, is widely used for separating. Wow. This is a 10 out of 10 answer. I like it a lot. But what if I want to know? What if I want to know why? Can you tell me why you made some of those corrections? Can you tell me why you made some of those corrections? Oh no. Okay, with the growing of semiconductor and optic industries, change to as the semiconductor and optic industries continue. This sounds more natural and convey that the growth is ongoing. Yes. Demand change to demand, correct spelling, great. Is increasing, change to is on the rise to convey the same meaning in a more natural way. Yes, that's true. Most mechanical machining changed to a lot of mechanical machining to sound more idiomatic and less technical. Okay. Yeah, I think I agree there. Diamond impregnated wheel changed to diamond impregnated wheels to match the verb form requires. Great. So yep. Groove grinding added specific type of grinding known as to give more context. Yes. Give more context. The reader, we don't know why the author might have jumped into groove grinding. And now we know a specific type, meaning now that we know there's tons of groove grinding. And this study is going to focus on groove grinding. That's so cool. That's awesome. 10 out of 10. Maybe this could have been done in a better way, suited for non-native speakers, but come on, this is new technology. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's jump on to our last example for a medical journal. Make this sentence sound like Native American English. Here we go. I'll read it. In this section, the actions of cytokine autoantibodies, maybe it's cytokine. Debate in the comments below. Autoantibodies associated with diseases are classified into 4 categories. Firstly, the autoantibodies' highly abrogating cytokine activity can be primary cause of the disease pathogenesis when they are more abundant than a certain critical threshold, figure 2a. Secondly, increases in some cytokine antibodies exacerbate certain diseases by augmenting cytokine activity. My medical English needs some polishing up. Here's what I don't like about this sentence. Things like abrogating, augmenting. This could be okay, disease pathogenesis. It's important to remember who you're writing for. If the journal you're submitting to is a very specific journal, and the people reading that journal are professionals in a specific field, let's say radiology, then you can be very technical with your English. But if you're applying in a more general field journal with an interdisciplinary journal, then sometimes the jargon can be more difficult for the regular audience, and you may need to explain those terms before using them. So take this with a grain of salt. Here we go. In this section, we'll classify the actions of cytokine antibodies associated with diseases into 4 categories. Ooh. First, autoantibodies that significantly inhibit cytokine activity can be a primary cause of disease development when they are presented in large enough amounts, as shown in Figure 2a. Second, an increase in certain cytokine antibodies can worsen certain diseases by amplifying cytokine activity, as shown in Figure 2b. So this has 4 categories. Obviously, there I didn't put in all the text. I do like this. So the first one are classified into 4 categories. They said we will classify the actions of cytokine and autoantibodies associated with diseases into 4 categories. I think I like this. This reads almost like a magazine. So here's one of the potentially challenging parts of this. Remember, my prompt here is make this sound like native American English. So your mileage may vary. The AI may want to translate it into something that's readable in a magazine, and sometimes it may translate it like an international journal. So if you want to be really specific, you can say that. You can prompt the AI to be more specific. Second, an increase in certain cytokine autoantibodies can worsen certain diseases by amplifying cytokine activity. So you see, amplifying was here when they used exacerbate here. So amplifying is a more friendly word. What was their alternative to abrogating? Inhibit. So they said highly abrogating, and here they say significantly inhibit. Significantly inhibit is a much more user-friendly way to write that. Great. It's a great response. Now for the challenge. Can you write that in a 5th grade reading level? In this part, we will group the things that cytokine autoantibodies do when they are related to sickness. First, when there are too many antibodies that stop cytokines from working, it can be the main reason why a person gets sick. Second, if there are more certain autoantibodies, it can make certain sicknesses worsen by making cytokines work harder. Amplifying the activity, make them work harder. Wow, that's really cool. You don't want to write this in a paper. This is too general. When a person gets sick, sick is way too vague. But if you're a non-native English speaker and you're having trouble understanding a paragraph or a sentence written in a journal, and you want to have the AI make it more simple so you can understand the concept a little better, I don't think there has been anything that's been able to do something like that ever. Unless if you paid a native English speaker to try and do that for you. This is one of the coolest things I've had the chance to look at in a very long time. I hope you understand the possibilities of this and the way that this can really transform a lot of industries. As I've shown, there have been some really good answers and some answers that maybe are too general or could have a second look over. So don't only use what this AI generates. Make sure you talk to your professors, talk to advisors, talk to professional English editing services. But wow, I'm blown away. And if you are too, please like this video and subscribe to the University English Hub. We make a lot of content on academic writing and publishing, and would love to have you along for the ride. Thanks, and I'll see you in another video.